I regret that I cannot face to face to see you, and we can have a more interactions. But with this COVID pandemic situation, so we need to manage at the flexible like this. Okay, so with the expectation from home and RMIT, I prepare 1 hour introductions of the supply chain in Nestle Vietnam, but I will try to manage around 50 minutes, and then we can have around 10 minutes to have a Q&A. Okay? My part will have a four part. One, introductions. The second is supply chain at Nestle. And with my experience, I will try to share with you what is the challenge during daily operation and career development at Nestle as well. The first one regarding introduction. So about me. So my name Ha. Actually, I was born in Nam Dinh in the north, and grow up and now living in Ho Chi Minh City, married with 2 children. Hobby, gym and yoga is my daily exercise. Besides that, I enjoy cooking and traveling with my family. My background, I have a master in accounting. Experience quite old with you. 5-year experience in KPMG, and then I moved to Nestle, and this September is 19 years with Nestle. So I take different position in Nestle, but thanks to Nestle to give me opportunity to grow up career. I start with the internal audit after left the KPMG, but after that I also have opportunity to enjoy the supply chains families from the procurement to supply chain development, customer service, distribution, and now I in charge for order to cash, customer facing supply chains. In terms about the Nestle, I don't know. My boss will also have a chance to give the introductions to RMIT, but I think in the south. I realize that you are in the north now. So just give you some number about Nestle Vietnam. So we are from Nestle joined Vietnam in 1995, and we also have a Nestle Water to have a joint venture with Long An Water. We call the brand name is Lavi in 1992. We have around 4,000 employees. Core brand. I believe that you also hear about the Milo. I hope that everyone also drink Milo. And Nescafe is also very, that's a big brand of us. In terms of nutrition, we have a naan for the baby, Nestle RTDs. In terms of the food, we have a Maggi, Lavi, Nestle Water, of course. So this is the 6 core brands of Nestle Vietnam. And we are very proud that we are ranking at the top 3 among the 100 best places to work in Vietnam for the 19 and 18. Up to now, the company invests nearly $700 million to Vietnam. And in terms of distribution, we have nearly 400 distributors nationwide. We also have 4 factories of Nestle Vietnam and 2 factories from Lavi. 2 DCs, 1 in the south and 1 in the north. Okay, let me know if it's if I speak too fast. So now,
yes.
Okay. I understand from home that you also study regarding the supply chain end-to-end, and now I just want to share with you regarding the end-to-end flow of the supply chain in Nestle's. Actually, we involve to own the process from engines. It means that any customer inside we will create through the innovation renovations. And then supply chain we involve from number one. So I just ask you simply guess what is the function of the number one of the engine. And then we move to the flow of upstream. We have two key process in the upstream. Actually, is supply chain involved. So number two, if you can guess what is the function in the number two. And next is a manufacturing. So we also supply chain play very important role in the manufacturing. It's not only the produce the product, it's also import product or export product, or we can exchange, or we can direct delivery from our factory to our customer. Yeah. So this is the upstream of the supply chains. And then we move to the downstream. I also put here the number 4 and number 5 that I will give you more detail of key process in the supply chain. What is the process of number 4 and number 5, where we need to manage that inbound, outbound, the order management, and deliver to our customer. And then for the downstream, after our distribution centers, we also move our product to the trade, to our distributors, and then they can deliver to the shopper or direct to the consumer. So you can see in terms of supply chain, it's quite complex, right? Okay, and now in the screen, you can see what is the key process in the supply chains. The first one is number one is a demand planning and supply planning. So right after the commercial, they have that customer consumer insight. They will generate look like the commercials innovations, and at that time demand planning under the supply chain will involve. And then they will generate to the supply planning, and then they work with procurement and manufacturing to produce our product. After produce our product, it will move to the DCs, and then we receive the order from our customer, and then we manage the order to cash. It's under my function at the moment. And after that, our product will move to the trade. Actually, we are the FMCG companies. We also have a partner. We call the distributors or the direct customer. Like in Vietnam, we have a key account like Big C's. It's also have a in the North, Vinmart, Mega Market, etc. And after that, it will move to the shopper, like the street shop or the consumer, etc. So this is the end-to-end of supply chain in Nestle Vietnam. So this is the general information. So now I will move to the supply chain at Nestle. I will give you more insight of each key process in supply chain of Nestle. From the demand supply planning, procurement, intermarket supply, customer service, customer facing supply chains, and logistics. Actually, beside this key process, we also have another process. But in this concept, I think that you only need to focus on the key 5 process under supply chains. Regarding the demand and supply planning, actually for Vietnam, La Vie just integrated to Nestle at the market recently. In this presentation, I only share the scope of the Nestle Vietnam, excluding the La Vie Nestle Waters. So in terms of the planning, the first important is that the alignment. So you can see here, in terms of alignment, we need to align with marketing, with sales regarding the monthly business plans. We call the MPPs. It looks like the cycle. So every month, So from the first month, we need to have a MSI. It means that monthly sale review. We need to review what is the sale achievement last month. And then we also have, that bottom up and also finalize the monthly sales for this month. And we will sign off for that. With that, we will move to the week 2. It means that MGR, monthly gap review. We will review the previous month's plan with actual, what is the gap. And we need to discuss about the forecast, about the impact to the P&L in the MGR. And after that, we move to MFR. It means that the third cycle is that monthly forecast reviews. So it means that we bottom up, and now with the forecast, we need to forecast what is the next. Yeah. And the last week we will review together. We call monthly alignment review. So this is we call the monthly business planning. We also integrated end-to-end process from the manufacturing to the sales and marketing to this cycle of the monthly business planning. Beside that cycles, here also give you some information that we have 4 factories, one in Hưng Yên, also near Hanoi. And then in the south, we have 3 factories to produce the Nescafe, Milo, Maggi. And then with the growth of Vietnam, we also consider, beside the factory owned by Nestle, the co-manufacturing is also the good investments rather than we build own in our factories. With that initiative, we also have a co-manufacturing for our fish sauce product. We also have a co-manufacturing for Milo and Nescafe can, the RTDs. I hope that you also test, you also try our product in the RTDs. With the background that with the RTD in the can, we need to import the packaging. And now they also have a factory here, but one, that's base of production is very, very big that we cannot observe. So co-manufacturing is also give us the good options in terms of the short terms. So when we have a bigger volume opportunities of the sales, we can consider later on. But co-manufacturing is also a very good opportunity for us. Besides that, we also have a Nestle. I'm proud to share with you that Nestle, we have a bestseller in Hanoi regions. So actually, before coming to this section, I also have a daily operation to review with my team. And one of the big SKU, the not ask us to supply more is Nestle's. So in overall, we have around more than 300 SKU. This is just a picture for the domestic factories. We also import. So later on, I will share with you what is product we import. Okay, so in terms of full supply, we need to follow the concept at the basic executions. It means that the planner at the factory should work very closely with the supply planner in the head office to translate all the demand to the supply. And then with that, we also consider what is the capacity, what is the demand, how we can, optimize that to give the business solutions. So this is some, initiative we are doing, like inventory of Milo RTD, just give you information about, when we talk about the supply chains, we need to consider not only the value, the money, but also the volume as well. Do you know why? Because it impacts the cost of the supply chain end to end, from the procurement. When you buy the raw and packaging material, you need to know regarding the volume. right? And then you need to know about the warehouse where they can store how much. And then come to the production, we need to review our production capacities. It's similar with the warehousing and transportation as well. So that's why the Milo RTDs, in terms of the value, it's not the most expensive product in Nestle, but in terms of volume, this is the big contributions. Yeah, so that's why we need to focus to develop the inventory pipeline. The second challenge for the supply is also the short shelf life supply as well. For Nestle, we aim to give our consumer the most fresh product. So that's why the planning, they need to consider what is the strategies for the short shelf life supplies. And then we need to include integrated all these strategy in the INR, it's mean innovation renovation pipeline. In terms of our team, we need to upskill their skill of the planning. It's not only under the supply planner, but it's also across the function as well. As I say in the previous slide regarding the co-manufacturing planning, so we need to work with them as the a partner to develop their competencies together with us. So this is main key activity for the demand and supply planning under the supply chains. So now I move to the procurement. So I heard from home that someone also pick procurement as your, study the inside of procurement, right? Okay, I used to work for procurement for 7 years, so very interesting in terms of procurement here. For Nestle, we work very, cross-border. It's not only procurement in the market, but we also work with the global in the hub as well. Why we do that? So Nescafe, we produce in more than 150 countries. So with the procurement at the hub, they can help us to source the raw materials. Like in Vietnam, we are the the second biggest producing the Robusta green coffee. So that's why when people from the hub will source all the coffee of Vietnam, but produce here, not only for Nestle Vietnam, but also export to over the world, like in Brazil, Mexico, etc. So with that, strategies, we can leverage and also ensure the qualities of our raw materials. It's also similar with the packagings, yeah. And then based on that, we not only to focus on the functional perspectives for the cost savings, but also focus on responsible sourcing, build relationship with our supplier, and how we can excellence to perform the procurement across markets, the zone, and also global. One of the challenges of the procurement is the ensure supply. So in Nestle, you can, you will, train to develop how you can ensure the supply through the process. Like we need to identify what is the risk. We need to assess that, what is the current situations. And then with you can see that we have more than 300 SKU. We have more than 100 material. We cannot cover all the risk management. So we need to prioritize what is the key contribution, what is the biggest contribution to our business, what is the supplier base, and then from that we will align regarding the priorities, and then we will mitigate the action to reduce the risk. After that, we will control. So it means that we monitor. So with that process, we will have a cycle to to monitor, to ensure the supply to the companies through the procurement. And at the procurement in Nestle, we are proud that we have the best for Nestle in terms of talents. So it means that, for example, in Nestle Vietnam, we also have one guy come from Nestle Vietnam and joins the hub in Malaysia. So in Nestle, in terms of career exchange, beside the, I mean that's at the market, you also have opportunities to take the opportunity to take the role in the regions or in the other market, or even at the global in Switzerland. In terms of the cost, we also very focused for the competitive end-to-end costs. With the supplier, we very proud that we work with them as a partner, and they together with us also build a lot of innovations for Nestle and for others as well. In terms of the process and tool, with the model of the hub, of course, the process and tool should be simplified and standardized so that we can speed up and focus on the effectiveness. In terms of supply, is the network, the global supplier is also give us more securities rather than one source. Just give you some feeling of one day of innovation and quality supplier day in Vietnam. This year, with the COVID, we also consider whether we can have it online. But normally, once per year, we will invite all the key suppliers together with our marketing, have a brainstorming for the idea, and then our management will choose, especially the market head will choose and also voted. And some idea from here is also come true. For example, before for the Nescafe, actually Nestle worldwide, we focus on a 3-in-1. But in Vietnam, you can see that people like to drink the roast and round, right? Yeah, that's the Nestle worldwide brand. They don't have that product. So we work together with our supplier to build the recipe, the raw material to produce the Nescafe with. So this is one example from the innovation supplier day. We catch up with that idea, and we also build based on that idea to become the one very famous product of Nescafe, Cafe Viet at the moment. Okay, so I already covered demand and supply planning, procurement, and now I move to the intermarket supply. So this is the vision of the intermarket supply. It means that we want to send the best product of Nestle Vietnam to the world, and we also want to bring the best Nestle World product to Vietnam. The role of intermarket supply focus on the import and export. So the export, together with the business owner, like sales and marketing, we will study what is the consumer insight, and then we will connect with the intermarket supply. It means that our colleagues about the world, and then we see what is the potential product produced in other markets, but very interest for Vietnam. So for example, we also have like Kit Kat. I hope that you also taste the Kit Kat chocolates. It's also import from Malaysia. Yeah, and the other like the nutrition, Nan, Gerber, etc. So we have many import product to Vietnam. For the export, so we also contact with our colleagues in other markets to see, for some reasons, they like Vietnamese testing, or they constrain regarding the capacities in their factories. While we also have a spare capacity here, and we extend the emissions through the product brief, and then we catch up with that, and then we can generate the demand for the export. So this is the role of intermarket supply. Up to now, we also export to the 37 market over the world, and we also import from the 21 market over the world. So you can see the key role of intermarket supply in Nestle's. That I believe that not all the company, the other company have similar like us. Okay, another interesting for Nestle Vietnam, beside the core key process of the supply chains, like demand supply planning, procurement, we also promote the marketing in the export to the affiliates as well. So we have one team also focus on that. They have a market visit, and they have a dedicated product to a specific market, and depend on the demand, they can increase the supply, expand the recipe, etc. And with a lot of marketing activity like brochure, the sample, and then we can get more customer on that. It's also support the market to have a cost optimizations. For example, when you invest for the line, if the local consumer cannot, utilize the production line, so the export to the affiliate is also one of the good option for the cost optimizations. So here for just give you some picture to show the digital marketing for the export. We both in the workplace is similar with the Facebook. So in Nestle, we also have a workplace to post all the information, the news, etc. So whenever we have any new product, we target for the export. So we post here, and the other market they can see and contact with our team for further actions of the export activities. Okay, so now I move to the customer service and customer facing supply chain. Actually, this is my team. Okay. Customer service, I believe that you also know the concept. For the order management, we need to sustain the daily operation, we need to fulfill the order, we need to satisfy the customer. But beside that, we also have the customer facing supply chain. Actually, this is quite new in Vietnam, but Nestle very keen to develop that, because we only think that we need to develop our customer together with Nestle, and then we can have a long-term together. So if we have a best practice in supply chains, but customer don't have, so it's very difficult for us to collaborate with them. So that's why the customer facing supply chains is also help on that. In terms of the customer service and customer facing supply chain under the other two casts, we also have a hub in the Philippines and India to support us. So for the process, actually we have a 14 process, and then we identify what is the routine. So we will centralize to the sales service in the Philippines or India. The rest of the service that need the insight of our people here, so we keep here. In terms of customer-facing supply chains, the purpose, the objective for us is that we need to ensure our product availability is everywhere and the fairness to our consumer. With that, we need to present at the basics. We also have a measure the customer order fulfillment. So how many case of our Nestle product reach to our customer as their expectations. And with that, we need to develop their warehouse as well. Do they have enough space to store our product? How about the supply? How about the stock cover, etc. And after the basics implementation, we will move to the engagement. So it means that we need to know what is their expectation, what is Nestle offer, and then we need to have a mind the gap between two parties. And beside the order fulfillment, we need to focus on the on-time in full as well. So after the engagement with the customer, and we will accelerate with them at that time, their capabilities is also similar with our team. At that time, we will discuss about the distributor stock availabilities, how about the fatness, how about the, sell out, etc. Here, just give you some key activity of customer-facing supply chains. We will go to our customer, go to their warehouse, to assess their warehouse, to give them the, that advice regarding the warehouse structure, whether they need to install the racking or not, whether they need to receive the pallet or not, etc. So this is the basic activities. And then we need to have, that full automations, what they need to mind the gap. Like they want to know what is our order, where is our order, where is our credit balance, what is the cash balance, etc. So we need to build the tool so they can, that install that app to their mobile, and then they can know the status. By doing that, we will train them to, raise the orders based on the agreement regarding the stock cover, regarding the sale out, etc. So with that, the CFSC will involve to replenishment with the strategic distributors to build their competency with us. So by doing that, the sale and distributor, they can focus for the sale out rather than the sale in. Okay. So we still have a 20 minutes. I think that we on track with the time. So after the order management, we will move to the logistics. At the moment, Nestle Vietnam have two distribution centers. One in Hưng Yên, can store 17,000 pallets. Here we also have several kind of the racking. And during the peak season, for us, is a peak season, is a Tết seasons. At that time, we will have a buffer warehouse nearby to store our actual product for the seasons. We work 6 days, 24 hours. We also have a 3PL, is a DHL, so the staff around 82 staff. In the south, it's based in Biên Hòa, near our 3 factories and also near the port. They can store it up to the 30,000 pallets. Seasonality is also the Tết. The working schedule, the TBO is also similar with the NAP. For Nestle, one of our priority is a safety, health, environment engagement, especially in our distribution centers, where we have a minimum Nestle staff, less than 10 people, but we have a huge 3PL, securities, the warehouse owner, and also the transporters. So that's why we need to engage them to our activities. And our theme is that think safety, think families. We also invite their family to join with us, and also have some activities. My boss, Will Margaret, also go there and also choice with, for example, join the game bar with the team there, join the ship handover. So with that, we can learn and share and recognitions with the soft floor. So just give you some information about the improvement. We have many improvements across the year from the distribution centers. It's not only from Nestle Vietnam team, but also from our third-party service provider, like the 3PL or the transporters. Beside the warehousing in the logistics, we also have the transportations. For Nestle, we don't own the vehicle. We will outsource the vehicle. So with that, we also need to have a strategies for the transportation regarding the safety and sustainability, regarding the service and the cost. And then we also promote the digital solutions for them. Like recently, we implement the track and trace. So it means that from the smartphone, I can know what is that truck come to that route, what time they will reach to the that distributor warehouse, etc. And later on, we can trace the information. Under the logistics, beside the warehousing and transportation, we also have a team called the import-export. Yeah. I hope that you also have some, concept through relearning during your course in RMIT for the import-export. So in Vietnam, we have a team around 5 people to manage all the import-export operation for all the finished goods that we import from other Nestle affiliates, for the raw and spare part machineries from the other key, important for the import-export function is that build relationship with our 3PL, the freight forwarder. So Nestle don't have our own team of the freight forwarder. We manage through the 3PL. And then the connection with authorities is also very important for that. Up to now, we also use the air mode and the sea mode for the import and export. Okay, so I already covered the key process in supply chain at Nestle. I hope that you also take some useful information for your studies. Hùng also asked me to share some operational challenges. So I recap in one slide, but I think that it's cover the key challenge during the operations. I think that supply chain and logistics in Vietnam compared with other markets is quite complex and not mature enough. So challenge for us is that how we can sustain, how we can build the maturities, not only for our team, but our service provider to maintain the supply chain best practice. The first one regarding the infrastructures. So you know that we have a lot of regarding the road is not developed, in terms of road, in terms of sea, still not developed. So it's not have a good infrastructures for logistics in Vietnam compared with other markets. Yeah, and then when we work out for the warehousing, we work out for the transportation, the investment is huge, and then the return on investment we don't know. So efficiency is also not good. Okay, the second one in terms of automations. So now for Nestle worldwide, we receive a lot of tools to promote the automation. But when we bring that to Vietnam, we can work well internally. But if we want to deploy that with our stakeholder, it's a challenge as well in terms of technology, in terms of productivities, in terms of visibilities. And last but not least, is the quality of the data as well. The third one is a compliance. So in terms of supply chain risk, I am very proud to say that during the COVID pandemic, our supply chain, especially procurement team here, can secure all the, that supply for Nestle Vietnam. But if it's continue like this, it's also take a lot of effort for us. In terms of compliance regarding the law and regulation, the decree, that the circular and decree, the interpretations between the, ministries level to the department, the province, cities, have something is mismatch, is give the ambiguities. So it's also challenge for us if we want to deploy new things. Yeah, and of course, with that, it's also take us more costly in terms of compliance. When we work with the supplier, we ask them in terms of the quality, in terms of the security, and they also challenge back to Nestle why the other companies they do like this. Why Nestle not accept? Nestle ask for more compliance, and it means that we have to spend more money, and we will charge back to Nestle on that, something like that. And last but not least, for the external is a qualified supplier and service provider. The competencies, the professionalism, and the idea. And whenever we have a crisis, it seems that we need to, to be the leader in those, and then train them, develop them, consider them. It look like the, our internal partner. So it's also take time, and maintain the qualified supplier is also not easy as well. It's also similar with our customer. So if they work with Nestle, but the other give them more, that's benefits. They easy to train to the others. In terms of internal, I put here two key challenges. The first one, internal alignments. As I said with you in the presentation of the key process from demand supply planning to the logistics, Nestle very good in terms of system, very good in the process. But in terms of internal alignment, where the supply chain should connect on the dots from the commercial, marketing, and sales to the manufacturing. So in terms of internal alignment, should have the same prioritizations, and we need to have a consistent communications, how we can manage the trend impact. So this is the key challenge we face every day. But from my personals, I enjoy with that.
I think some technical issues, so technical left, so hopefully she can join back in 2 minutes. Let's wait for a minute. Probably it's good time now if you have some question, can you start to typing some questions? Then we can do a selection. When she come back, we can probably move on to this later on the discussion. Right? Everyone, can you hear us? Okay, so you can start with some question. You can type here, and then we can try to answer as many as possible if time allows. The rest we can probably talk to the company at a later stage. I hope she can find a way to get back.
Hello. Sorry, em out. Hello. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you well. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm out a while and now I
Yeah.
reconnect.
That's okay.
Okay.
We can
I
understand that
see.
that technical things has all happened.
Okay, I see some questions. So let me finish and then I can answer. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
It just have some several slides. So
Yeah.
I just says the external and internal challenge at Nestle. Beside the internal alignment, we also have a how we can create a value creations among the teams. We should start first. With the, I mean, the competition and leadership, and optimize the team contribution through the value chains performance. With the customer centricities. So this is key value creation among the supply chain team. Hồng also asked me to share some career supply chain development at Nestle. I just put here two slide copy from our internal internet. Here we also have about the, I mean, that supply chain learning. If you are the newcomer, so we also have an on-board program for the supply chain learning where we can enter to us and have an e-learning about what is the supply chains in general, what is the qualities assurance in supply chain, what is the compliance, etc. And then we also integrate with our consumer and customer centricities. I am sorry that I'm copy from the internet and it's not clear here. But basically, for one position, you will be developed by the core skill, by your functions. For example, if you are the demand planner, so what is the core skill we need to develop them, you? And then with that, what is the functional competencies you need to develop? and together with the leadership competency as well. So every level in Nestle, we also have a different set of leadership competencies. For example, if you just enter, so you need to have proactive cooperation, you need to have a result focus, you need to have an initiative, etc. So with that learning and development framework, you can, that develop further in Nestle. Here I also put, copy from the internet to guide you the career in supply chains. Whether you can, you need to know what is your strength, what is your weakness. You need to know what you want to be. So if you want to develop, that's at a higher level, and we also have a, career development for the speed up. For the other, like me, I don't want to be, speed up too quickly. I choose the broaden. So you can see from my profile is that, yeah, I also, that choice. I'm not, that in one position, but I brought my career in Nestle in different position. So in my career at Nestle, I choose the broaden. Okay. And then another is also different for some specialists, like the green coffee buyer. So you need to have a very insight, and then you can to be the specialist. And you not only work for Vietnam, you work for the the global team as well. So here is also give you one example of mapping your supply chain career. If you want to be the grow, that speed up or the broaden or specialist, etc. Everything we do is just focus on one moment of truth. That what supply chain should do for availabilities, for value of the money that consumer pick our product everywhere. They trust us, they trust our qualities, they also trust about the fatness of our product. So that's all the Nestle operation, including the supply chain, we need to respond. And with that, I end with the customer and consumer centricities in supply chains. So I want to summarize here is that we need to have competent people, and then we can power. We need to have technologies so that we can automate on the standard process. And then to accelerate the growth, the profitabilities, and capital efficiencies, we need to grow the customer centricities. We need to build agilities in planning. We need to optimize the costs, and we need to protect by the safety, quality, and sustainability. Okay, so I end of my presentations.
Right. Thank you very much.
Hope that you also receive some, good insight of the Nestle Vietnam. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Hal. Thank you very much for your insight and very detailed and well prepared for us. I think myself, I learned a lot from very interesting, particularly in your function right now, which is the CFSC activity, integration. So in concept, in class, we're talking about how do we integrate those starting from customer insight, but I think your function actually provide us a very good real life example. So thank you again for your sharing. So if possible, can you give us a few more minutes for question and answer? I know that timing is up, but can we have 10 more minutes for question and answer?
Yeah, I can stay
okay,
around 10 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. Can you see the question on the list?
Let
right
me yes. Okay. So I see some question here. So let me read, and then I answer one by one.
Yeah. I guess we cannot finish all the questions, but probably the thing that you find is most appropriate.
Okay. One from that asked about the 3PL, the DHL manage all the supply chain in Vietnam, but they're using the Nestle facilities. So my question is, what is the process in the distribution center and what is the role of warehouse management? The management is Nestle employee or DHL? Okay, the answer is both. So as I say in presentations, so it means that Nestle, we need to have a strategies for the 3PL in the Vietnam context as a DSLs. In terms of the process, like the inbound, the storage, the outbound, how they can develop their people, how they can sustain, retain the talent as well. So we are looking like the give them the framework and then exchange with them. For example, we at the high level, it's mean my boss and the head of DSL, we have a quarterly meetings. In this meeting, we also exchange from the strategy, it's mean the high level, and also daily operation as well. So my answer is both. But of course, in terms of daily operations, we also have a manager here and supervisors. And at their side, they also have a DC side manager and the team there. So the answer is 3, both Nestle and DHLs. By doing that, we can, work further with them as the partner. Otherwise, it looks like the rail service provider. The second question from Thắng is, what is the most important logistic and supply chain process? My answer is that we don't have any most. The supply chains function is connect on the dot of the business. So if one, process cannot, not lead. So if you don't have a logistics, it's also fail. If you don't have a customer service, it's also fail. So this is that's the teamwork. So in supply chains, the important is that the team works, the cross-function collaborations. So no function go and say that, oh, I'm in the most important process of supply chain of Nestle's. So with that, I also share with you the experience to work in a multi-international companies. Everyone have a role, everyone have a responsibilities. But how we can connect and collaborate as a team, and then we can deliver. Okay. Next question from Đinh Phương Anh. You talked about the implementing the track and trace, increasing the customer visibilities. Can you please elaborate more about those topics? This is a big topic, Phương Anh. I'm sorry that with the limited time, I cannot give you more detail, but I can share with you the general like that. So track and trace, it looks like you have a car, and you it look like the, how to say, it's just very simple, like I don't know, in Hanoi you have a like Go Viet, Grab car, etc. You have, right? You have on the, a smart bike or the car. So you can check whenever they stop, they coming, etc. So track and trace project is similar with that. So we also implement with our transportation service provider, and they need to have install that software, and from us or from them, they can know and check where is the situation of the vehicle. With that, it's not only for our internal, but we also show to our customer, and instead they call my team to say, hey, where is my order? Where is my shipment? They can go to the app and they can know exactly what is the shipment. For example, now if you deliver from Hưng Yên to Da Nang, it also have some constraint in terms of enter to Huế and Quảng Bình with the recent Da Nang COVID pandemic, right? So with that, we will reduce all that call from our customer. They just simple, go to the app and know the status.
Okay.
The last question from Phan Trọng Nghĩa, you asked about Big C and Vinmart. Okay, Big C is our direct customer. So Vinmart have not our direct customer. We still sell to them through another distributors. Last question from Vũ Ngọc Thắng. Can you talk about more demand management and forecast of Nestle? So I also have a slide, one slide of demand planning. So the key focus is first one. I think that you asked from beginning of the section. You asked at the 11:06 or just recently. So I can share with you the slide later, Thắng. But in my presentation, I have one slide for that. Or you need you need more further. I think in the slide also cover the demand planning through the monthly business cycle, and it's also cover the forecast there.
Yeah. So I think some of this discussion question that having very well presented in the slide, and I think we had the record of this session, so students probably can review and using some of this information to make their assignment. So yeah, with that, I think thank you very much for the question and A session. So I think that probably cover key question that students looking for that. So before we would like to say thank you, I would like to ask you one thing. Students have already, students are asking to do a poster, video and sound later on as a report toward the end of the semester. And they have already submitted the first poster. Can I share with you to see on at this stage? And then,
Fantastic. I'm very curious. Yeah, yes, please say to me.
Yeah, I share a few posters, so hopefully you can see. I'm asking student permission. Yeah, can I share with the? Can you see on the screen right now?
Yes, I can see the Nescafe supply chain.
This group, they select the food and beverage industry and coffee product particularly. And I think we asked them to drawing the key player, the key information flow, for example. This is what they have done. I think this is good. Yeah. And then looking at some of the issues, looking at some of the objectives. So your input today is very useful, probably for them to enhance these activities in the future. Oh, here I have. Yeah. So later on, can we share with you some of this poster and video for your information, perhaps?
Yeah, I'm happy to receive it. And then from the slide, I also happy that you also catch up with the key end-to-end flow of supply chain in the right side, from the supplier to the consumer. And I'm hope that with my sharing, it also give you more insights for each part through the end-to-end of the flow.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So thank you very much. I would like to take time to say that thank you for very much insight to RMIT students, and I believe that we have a lot of good information, a lot of connection, and to know someone that working in the industry, particularly for certain product that we like it very much. So thank you for your sharing to RMIT.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and good luck with your study.
Yeah, so thank you, students, for taking time and then participated with that, with question and answer. So hopefully you can have good and useful information for your assignment. All right. So
thank you.
You very much. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Hùng. Bye.
Bye-bye.